It's a special day. Today is 6 months to the day since I renounced my plant munching past in favor of eating all the meat I could get my hands on. This is what happened. And I achieved this monstrous transformation, eating virtually nothing but beef for the last 6 months. And I have never been so satisfied in my entire life. Okay, but fancy videos aside, let's get to it. All right. I've been eating a carnivore diet for 6 months now, and it's entirely revolutionized my life. Well, you saw the video. I went from a very bad state to feeling better than I have in years. And in this video, I want to talk about it. I want to cover all the different nuances, talk about some of the different pros and cons I've experienced, share some of the context of how I maneuvered this diet for 6 months, talk about the improvements I've noticed physically, mentally, spiritually. I'm going to share my blood work. I have some, black and white facts of the physiological changes that have occurred in my body, as well as I think just answer some of the frequently asked questions that I get. So when I started, I just ate everything. A lot of beef, butter, eggs, some fish, some oysters. I know it's not really carnivore, but I even drank a bit of milk for the first few weeks. No, first like 2 weeks. But then very quickly, it was just my preference. I just started eating beef. I literally just ate beef all day, every day. And my diet, in terms of how much I ate, changed so much in the course of that time. In the first few months, I was eating upwards of 4,000 or 5,000 calories every day. I would sit down and eat 3-4 pounds of ground beef, and then with some of it cooked with lard, and then I would literally go to the fridge and eat spoonfuls of lard. My body wanted fat, animal fat, so much. I'd been depriving myself of these nutrients I was vegan for probably around 4 or 5 years. Combined with poor digestion, I was not absorbing any nutrition. And so, yeah, I went nuts for the first few months. And then it kind of died down. And now I'm 6 months in, and I probably only eat less than 2 pounds of beef every day. And I eat, initially my macros were around like 90-10, even 95-5, given like all the butter and lard I would eat. I wanted everything was coming from fat. And now it's much lower. It's like 70-30. I feel like my body's finally found like a bit of an equilibrium. It's finally gotten back to that natural threshold. Okay, we're comfortable here, and we don't need to eat like we're starving anymore. So yeah, that's the context. That's what led me here. And this is where I am now. So now let's talk about the physical changes I noticed in my body. And right away, right off the bat, I need to say, in the first, I had a little keto flu for a week or two. It took my body a little bit of time to adapt. I was eating a bit more fruit and stuff just before it. I felt, and I say felt, so give me a sec. I felt incredible. I had more energy, vitality than I had had in years. I was waking up and I was like, I want to get out of bed, as opposed to many years where I was like, oh, I got to pry myself up with my arms, So it was incredible. And I say it was because it did dwindle. So for the first 4 months, I think when my body was in that growth stage, I was on top of the moon. I was working out, surfing, running. I used to just drive the scooter and have my dog run on the side. And I was able to finally run with my dog. I have the best dog in the world, guys. And he's just sitting over there sleeping. I just felt incredible. It's kind of cheesy and sounds cliche, but I just felt like I was dead before that, and I finally had my life back. But it did kind of hit a wall. About a month or two ago, I've noticed a decline in my overall energy. And this seems to have correlated with my maxing out my body weight. So I went from about 110 pounds up to 150. Like that's the transformation you guys saw at the start of this video, or that I can probably bring in right now, 110 to 150. But it seems that once my body hit that maximum weight, my energy started to decline. And my theory around this is not that all of a sudden a carnivore diet isn't optimal. I still believe it is. Sorry to disappoint you guys. But I believe that my body is saying it's time to do another water fast, because I know there's still dysfunction within my system. So speaking to that as well, my digestion in the first 3-4 months was also incredible. And like I said, I had diarrhea for 6 years straight, every single day of my life. The fast helped incredibly. And then moving into a natural, a food selection that is natural for me as a human, my digestion has been really, really good. But like the same as the energy, at the 5-6 month mark, it just hasn't been as optimal. And the only thing I can think is that it is because my body is ready to lay down, rest again, and keep fixing the dysfunctions that I encouraged for those 5 or 6, 7 years that I just lived my life with diarrhea forever. So that's been the main physical benefit. Now, while increased energy has been an incredible blessing, and all these things are obviously intrinsically tied together, I would say the single phenomena that excites me the most of all the changes in my body is my renewed libido, which has absolutely skyrocketed. All right. And I'm not going to go into incredible detail here. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I guess let's just say for the last few years, things didn't work so well. And now they do. And like this goes so much further than just sex, right? Like a man's libido is his life force. It's his energy. It's his will to live in many ways. And if I reflect on those last few years, there were some really dark times where I just had no will to be alive. And now I feel like I finally have some gumption, some tenacity back in my step. I feel like I have an edge. I feel like a man, and it feels good. Now, there have been a bunch more, and I'm just going to list them off to you. So I used to get these histamine rashes on my arm whenever I ate food. After a meal, I would get these lumps. I don't get those anymore. My hair is growing back thicker. It was getting really thin. I had long hair before, but it was very thin for those last few plant-based years. My gums. This has been a huge factor. If you look at my teeth, I have nice teeth. I don't mind saying it. I've never had braces. I was born and developed good teeth, and I take a lot of pride in them. But when I was eating plants, I ended up, I guess, having a lot of acidity in my diet. And some evenings I'd be brushing my teeth and my gums would have receded so far that I would get into the root, and it was painful. And I was really concerned. I was like, geez, I'm 30 years old and my teeth are already degenerating. I'm happy to say that's completely gone. I can brush my teeth as hard as I want. Not that I do that, but I brush my teeth and my gums have fully come back. My teeth are very healthy. So that's another benefit. What else? I don't wake up a million times to pee in the night. I guess because fruits and vegetables, they allow you to retain so much water that your kidneys at 4 a.m, 2 a.m are still doing some stuff, forcing you to get up, go pee. I can sleep through the whole night now. And sleep is, it's imperative to our good health. So that's been really nice. Injury healing. I'm finding any injuries in my body are healing now that they have the adequate nourishment to do so. I had this injury in my foot in the fascia from running, and it lasted nearly a year on my kind of plant-based, mostly fruit-based diet. And then within a month of eating carnivore, all better. So that's been good. And the last one I have on my list is I feel hydrated, but not from water, but from fat. Like I heard this term delipidated. Like there's dehydrated or perhaps delipidated. So living here in Bali, most nights I have to use AC or else I just don't sleep very well. And AC notoriously dries out the air. And I used to get really dry toes every night. And I couldn't stand it. I don't get that anymore. My toes are adequately moist and it's very nice. There's probably something I'm forgetting on that list, but overall, my overall physical vitality, I mean, you can see physically I got bigger, stronger. I just improved in a whole list of ways, right? That's physical. The one that comes to mind first is I would say my just general, I don't know, cognition has been overall enhanced. I find I'm able to articulate my sentences better, as though my brain is literally just functioning at a greater capacity. And perhaps this is because when you run on ketones, they're more efficient with oxygen use, or it's just how our bodies are meant to run. But I feel smarter. Although the words are failing me now that I feel like I have to represent what I just said. That's been a big change. And also, I don't know how else to put it besides saying that I feel like more of a man. When I think of masculine traits, I think of being grounded, strong. Like strong is certainly a physical attribute, but grounded, present, clear-minded, level-headed, and especially in social situations among all genders, whatever. I just feel like a better version of myself. We all know when we are behaving in ways that are kind of lesser versions of ourselves. And I feel like I can recognize objectively that the traits I look up to in other people, I find I'm embodying more myself. And it feels really good. No doubt this is obviously due to my testosterone increasing from my cholesterol. Like, all of these things are intertwined, right? Other kind of random things are, I would say I'm more disciplined now, and perhaps as a result of just that being a masculine trait in general. But I think additionally, because when you have to restrict what you're eating, like this, here's the thing. I've eaten pretty much nothing, like for a good 2-3 months, I ate nothing but beef, meat, and fat. But this wasn't from a place of restriction. It was from a place of, I love this. This is incredible. And for all those years I ate plant-based, especially fruit-based, there was always an element of discipline at play because I have to stick to this because I think it's healing my body. I haven't really seen much evidence, but I think it's doing it. I don't know anything else. I'm going to keep doing it. And you utilize this. You only have so much strength that you can apply as discipline. And now that I'm not needing to discipline myself around food, I don't have this crazy food envy anymore. I can apply that on other areas of my life and subsequently find success in more endeavors because I have the tenacity to apply myself properly, as opposed to before where I just had no strength left. Last few things that just popped into my head are, I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel as though my sense of hearing and smell have been heightened. Perhaps it's just my overall vitality for life has increased, and so I'm perceiving these senses more acutely. But okay, maybe that's the case. But the other couple things were I haven't gotten sunburnt since I started eating carnivore. Again, this could just be a coincidence, but I'm in the sun for hours every day. I live in the tropics. So I think certainly eating a proper diet has allowed my skin to be more healthy, moisturized. The skin is the largest organ after all. I think for people to blame the sun when it's going to be the biggest representation of poor diet is absolutely foolish. But anyways, those are basically all the physical and mental benefits.